This is the Canadian city of Edmonton. It was the destination recently for the third stop of this year's FISE World Series. FISE is the biggest annual tour for action sports. It takes in 3 continents and features the world's best tricksters in a variety of events. One of the hotly contested events in Edmonton was the final of the men's BMX Flatland. BMX Flatland is performed on a smooth, flat surface, and it's been described as a form of artistic cycling mixed with elements of breakdancing. Tricks are performed by spinning and balancing on the bike in a variety of unexpected positions. One of the leading exponents of the discipline is Matthias Dandois. The 29-year-old Frenchman is known for his natural finesse, and he has a huge array of street-influenced tricks. He won at the last FISE event in Montpellier and was on course for another flawless performance until he fell. Dandois' long combinations and all-or-nothing approach can be risky. But he finished off his routine and it was good enough to secure him 3rd place.
I tried some new move that didn't work out during my run. I knew I had to take some risk to win and it didn't work out, so stuff like that happened, and I'm gonna do better at the next one.
Dandois' great rival is his fellow Frenchman and legend of the sport, Alex Jumelin. 40-year-old Jumelin rolled back the years and produced a vintage display. He pulled out a variety of both front and back wheel tricks whilst demonstrating incredible balance and style. Jumelin claimed his first FISE win of the year. He has now closed in on Matthias Dandois at the top of the FISE rankings. Jumelin's battle with Dandois looks set to go all the way to the final FISE event of the year in China. Second here in Edmonton was home rider Jean-William Prévost, and Jumelin was keen to let him share in some of the glory. One of the most talked about topics at FISE this year has been the quick return from injury of Logan Martin. The 24-year-old Australian competes in BMX freestyle, and he was the overall FISE Series champion back in 2015 and 2016.
It was a very rough start for me, actually. I broke my collarbone. It was about 3 or 4 weeks before the first stop of the World Series. I got the surgery to try and speed up the recovery process. I was back on my bike 2 weeks after that. I figured it's probably not the best idea to go to Japan. I wanted to be strong going into Montpellier. I placed 2nd in Montpellier actually, so it was a really good contest to come back and do pretty well at.
Logan is considered to be the leading rider of his generation.
Logan is not a guy that makes many mistakes, and just to see him in that zone, that I knew he was going to pull everything.
I mean, it is obviously hard for me to do well over the whole series because I've missed an event. So the standings overall right now coming into Edmonton, it's not too far away. I'm sitting in 9th, but I'm not too far out of podium position. So, I mean, I come to every event just trying to do the best I can. And it's no different here. I'm focused. I feel good on my bike, and I'm here to do the best I can.
You'll see him unleashing on the next few stops.
Big crowds turned out to see Logan Martin in the final of the BMX Freestyle Park. Croatia's leading rider Marin Rantić set the standard. A 360 triple tail whip was soon followed with a 720 tail whip. As a child, Rantić excelled at a variety of sports, including football, basketball and handball. But BMX was always his first love, and he is beginning to make a real name for himself in the sport. The 22-year-old scored 91.60 to claim second place here in Edmonton.
This was actually first time on a FISE that I pull all tricks in the round what I want to do, so I was really happy. This is why second round was, I want to do it a little bit better, but it was too much emotion, and I'm really happy to be second. Last time was third time in Montpellier, now it's second, so I'm really stoked about that.
Rantić finished second behind a rejuvenated Logan Martin. The Brisbane rider produced an imperious display. His 720 double bar spin and his flare bar spin transfer were the highlights of his performance, and they wowed the crowd. But things could have been so very different for Logan. The night before, he was eating in a restaurant in the city with a couple of friends. His friends had their bikes stolen, and Logan's bike was only left alone by chance. It's unlikely that the Australian could have produced such a display on a replacement bike.
So my first one, I come out here, I did mostly of what I wanted to do, and towards the end I cased and got a flat tyre, so I couldn't probably finish off what I wanted to do. Second run, I just wanted to do what I was going to do in the first run. I ended up pulling it off and getting a 95 and winning the contest, so I'm stoked to actually pull the run that I wanted to do.
When it comes to women's BMX freestyle, Swiss rider Nikita Ducaro is becoming a familiar face on the FISE scene. Her second place in Montpellier was a signal to the rest of the field that the 21-year-old means business this season.
Coming into this, I didn't really know what to expect with so many girls that we'd never ridden with before. A girls' contest before used to be just a bunch of fly-out tricks, and now it's like you really got to be on top of your game and be pushing the limits. Last year in Montpellier, I actually sent the 540 in my run. And then after that, the rest of the FISE stopped. I would land it in practice and then just wouldn't happen in my run. I just kept getting hurt. I was like, I'm just gonna lay it to rest for a little bit, come back to it, relearn it. And I don't know how, but it just worked. Being at the very end of my run, I wasn't really thinking about it. It was just like, okay, let's just see what happens. Also, I had Ryan Nyquist's tube in my tire, so that might have helped.
Up next, we got the UCI BMX Women's Finals.
12 riders from around the world made it through to the finals. They each had two 60-second runs, and it was the score from the best run that counted. New Zealand's Ellie Chu has been in good form this year.
Having so many girls is great. I mean, where I'm from back home in New Zealand, there's no girls. It's just me, so I ride with guys all the time. So it's great to be out here with all the girls, and yeah, good vibes.
In a hugely stacked final, Ellie could only manage a 10th place finish on this occasion. America's Angie Marino was another rider disappointed with her performance as she came home in 8th. Nikita Ducaro couldn't repeat her Montpellier showing and get on the podium. She had to settle for 6th. Great Britain's Charlotte Worthington produced arguably the best performance of her career. The 22-year-old from Manchester is in her first season of competing at FISE events, and she took 3rd.
First run was a little bit scary because as soon as I went to hit the jump box, I felt the wind push against me. As soon as I took off for the backflip, I knew I was casing, so I'm pleased I pushed through and still got a good score and pulled the whole run together.
Germany's Lara Lessmann was the #1 rider in qualification. In the final, the 18-year-old from Flensburg on the border with Denmark produced a typically controlled and stylish run to claim second place. Taking top honours here in Edmonton was 16-year-old American sensation Hannah Roberts. She's the reigning FISE champion and is well on course to retain her crown.
I just worked on, my bigger tricks, and I sent some big stuff. Still managed to take home the win, and I even brought a new trick. I threw my first double air bar in a contest, so it's pretty sweet.
And so the curtain fell for another year on FISE Edmonton. We'll bring you action from the next event in this action sports series, FISE Budapest.